So David Cameron's calculation here is, well, I may as well involve all these parties in the debates. And then there's another party on the outside here, the DUP.
Could get even more crowded, couldn't it?
They say they want to be involved. They have 8 MPs. They are looking for a judicial review to be included, and then it would create this scenario with 8 people on the stage.
So where are we now? All a bit of a headache, really, isn't it, all round?
It's a headache for the broadcasters. They have to make a decision now, really, and they've got 3 decisions. They've got 3 options. They can either say, OK, we accept the Conservative proposal, let's do that. They can offer some kind of compromise and say, we'll do that, but we also want you to do this. Or they can just stand firm and say, these are the 3 options we've now given you. Given what you have asked us to do, we're going to stick with the 3 options that we've said, and if you don't turn up, we'll empty chair you.
Sounds like the debate about the debates could be even more exciting than the debates themselves. Jason, thank you.
Well, joining us now from Holyrood is the former First Minister of Scotland, Alex Salmond, no stranger to television debates himself, although David Cameron declined to debate him during the Scottish referendum campaign. Currently an MSP, but Mr Sammond, according to the latest Ashcroft poll, you and 55 other SNP colleagues would be on your way to Downing Street if the general election were to take place now. You're a betting man. Are you prepared to bet on 56 out of 59 SNP Scots?
I'll tell you how important what's happening in Scotland is, Adam. The Ashcroft polls indicate that we're in the running in every seat in the entire country. It doesn't mean we'll win every seat, but we're in the running. We're competing in every single seat. And despite that devastating finding, that remarkable polling evidence didn't make its way onto the Sky News this morning. And that's an indication of how much is being accepted that this political revolution which is taking place in Scotland might actually happen. It's now become commonplace that there's going to be dramatic gains for the SNP in the election. A good thing for Scotland, certainly. I think a good thing for everyone who believes in progressive politics across these islands.
Well, I have to say, I certainly reported that poll when it came out yesterday afternoon, which may be why it wasn't on Sky News this morning.
Well, see, Sky's always first with the news. You reported it hours before Lord Ashcroft released it.
Right, OK. Let's talk now about these debates. It is a bit of a mess. The Prime Minister says it's chaos. What do you think is the way out of this? Well,
firstly, I mean, what's happening now David Cameron is not running scared, as Ed Miliband says. He's arrogant, certainly. He believes he can dictate terms to broadcasters, as Nicola Sturgeon has said. He's also slicket. I mean, slicket, as you know, is a Scottish word meaning devious and slippery. He believes he can get out of the debates because he believes that he has everything to lose and very little to gain from taking part. And 2 things I would say. One, that he's been allowed to get into this position for 2 reasons. One, that when the broadcasters made their last proposal for the 2 Sevenway debates and the head-to-head debate, the Liberals and the Labour Party should have accepted that immediately to put Cameron in a corner, and they didn't, allowing him to make his latest moves. And secondly, of course, that you allowed him to get away with not debating during the Scottish referendum, where he did exactly the same thing. He refused to come to the table, refused to come to the rostrum, refused to have the 2-way debate, and there wasn't enough pressure on him, enough penalty. And he thinks, having got away with it last year, he can get away with it this year as well. That's why he's not running scared, he's just arrogant and sleek it.
OK, so give us some advice. How do we get him to debate?
Empty chair him. That's what to do. Make it absolutely clear, the broadcaster, to go, you've made your proposal, and the Prime Minister will be empty-chaired if he doesn't turn up for any debates, and turn the last debate, instead of being the head-to-head, into another 7-party debate. That any debate he doesn't turn up to, then the Prime Minister of this country should be empty-chaired. That is nothing in the chair, not even a tub of lard, as Have I Got News For You once did for Roy Hattersley. I don't know what you're putting in for the Prime Minister, maybe a magnum of champagne or something. Empty-chair him. If you do that, then I think Downing Street will back down.
Do you think there's any truth in his claim that debates suck the life out of election campaigns and that debates should only take place when the election campaign isn't on?
No, I think if you have all the key parties and legitimate parties in a debate taking part, it's part of the democratic process. Now, some people say that if you have 7-party debates, it can't be exciting. I think that's absolutely nonsense. I think the Sevenway debate actually could be constructed to be very exciting indeed. After all, the challenging parties, that's the SNP led by Nicola Sturgeon, the Greens and Natalie Bennett, Leanne Wood of the Plaid Cymru, these are all young, vibrant women with an alternative point of view, and the establishment, the Westminster establishment, represented by middle-aged men like you and me, Adam, and therefore that could be constructed to be a very exciting debate indeed. So as long as the framework of the debate, then there's every reason to have all these legitimate voices taking part. And I think the public would enjoy that, to see the alternative points of view, as opposed to the kind of stale sameness that has pervaded politics at Westminster for far, far too long.
So having a 7-way debate now, as David Cameron wants, is that a goer in your view?
Yes, but not just one. I mean, what the broadcasters should do is stick to the plan of having 3 debates. And if David Cameron doesn't want to turn up, then empty chair him and let the other 6 take part.
OK, final question. Just suppose that there are 50-plus SNP MPs at Westminster on May the 8th. What are you going to do? Well,
as Nicola Sturgeon has outlined very, very clearly, the SNP will be a voice for progressive politics. So we wouldn't do any deal with the Tories in either formally or informally, any shape or form. Anything else we're willing to contemplate, but what you'll get is a party that stands for an end to austerity economics, a move away from that, an absolute red line veto on spending or wasting £100 billion over the next generation in a new set of nuclear missiles, and key social and economic gains like the living wage for people across these islands, help for our oil industry in the northeast of Scotland just now in terms of saving jobs. So there'll be key social and economic gains, as well as delivering the constitutional promises, the vow that was made to Scotland in these last days of the referendum campaign when Cameron and Miliband thought they were about to be beaten. We want the redemption of that pledge.
Only a few tens of days to wait now. Thank you very much indeed, Alex Sammond.
Great pleasure, Adam.